our knowledge relationship. I'm here with tonight, Jack. As always, we have a bunch of amazing panelists tonight. I am going to go ahead and put Octavius out there. Hi, Octavius. How are you?
Hey, Jessica, how you doing?
Great. And we're going to come. And what is the name of your business we're going to be talking about with entrepreneurship?
Statesman Transportation, LLC.
All right. Thank you. And you're out of Nashville, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then next up is Jasmine Jacobs. And I know you have a couple of businesses, ma'am. So what are your businesses' names, and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jasmine Jacobs. The first business is Jacobs Excellence, virtual tutoring and interactive notebooks, and Jacobs Frenzy is our fashion line. My twin and I.
Oh, thank you. All right, now we are going to go to Jada Wilder. Jada, if you could introduce yourself and your businesses' names. I think you have a couple as well, right?
Yes. Hi, my name is Jada Wilder. I own Unravel Accessories, which is a fashion accessories brand. I also style people on the side. So as we are styling on Instagram. And yeah.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to come to LaDonna Miller.
Yes.
Solo. If you want to introduce yourself and the name of your business.
Yes, my name is LaDonna Miller. I am co-owner of Sunshine Pals, a self-care product-based business.
Thank you. And then Brittany Winston. I know you are getting started, but you are amazing entrepreneur as well with goals. So what is either the type of business you're working on or the name? I know you had an Etsy you're working on.
Yeah, I'm still working on the name. I have a brand called Tech and Chic that pretty much is about sharing my background and how I transitioned from education into technology. So just encouraging others that they can do the same and give them tips on how they can do it. And then I'm working on a resale shop as well. So happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on again. And then one of our lovely co-hosts, Abiola Williams, she also has her own side hustle.
Hi, everyone. I have a tutoring business with Rock Learning Center, LLC. And I do have a jewelry line that I work on the side as well. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, y'all. So get everybody back on. Jacquelyn Williams, she's just entrepreneurial spirit. During the pandemic, she was out there selling masks, and she's always like me. We did Girl Scouts together and stuff, so we would fundraise. I am definitely not an entrepreneur. I admire all of you, and I know all of you are really hard workers on top of your own jobs, running your own businesses, and just inspiring lots of different people in your communities. So we're going to start out just with a quote. Every time you state what you want or believe, you are the first to hear it. It's a message to both you and others about what you think is possible. Don't put a ceiling on yourself. And that is by the illustrious Oprah Winfrey. So all of you all are here today because you have not put a ceiling on yourself. You struck out. You took a risk. You're doing great things. But I'm sure it might not have felt like that at the beginning. So we want, hopefully you to give each other people in the community tips, self-confidence that you all have acquired, and some other things. So we're going to jump straight into it tonight. Jacquelyn, if you want to take it away with number one, I'm going to pop it up on the screen. This is for everyone lightning round, but go ahead, Jackie.
Okay, my question is, what influenced or sparked you to start your personal pursuits? And I'm gonna give that question to my cousin.
Right. So a couple different things inspired me to start this last business with my little sisters. I have a few businesses. And so what really sparked our interest was wanting to have a natural-based self-care product business. So natural deodorant, soaps, toothpaste, body care products. Then we really started into candles. We both have allergies. So that was really the interest in identifying something that was Black owned for us to identify that was local to our communities. We're based out of Chicago. And so you can go to see the major suppliers in the stores and see products, but wanted to see some products by us. So that was really the major push behind us creating Sunshine Pals.
Thank you. Also, everybody, if you go to the regular link, not the one that you all are in, but on the regular YouTube that I shared earlier, please, 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 in the comments, put your business ads, Facebook page, websites, Instagrams. Definitely want to get y'all some more customers or people just learning about your business and about what all your values are and everything. So let's hear from everybody. Let's go ahead to Jasmine. I know you have a couple. You can discuss what was your spark as well. What influenced you and Jalicia to start, or Jalika to start?
Jalisa.
I just jacked it up both ways. Sorry.
Yeah. You're fine. You're fine. Okay, so I am going to speak on Jacob's Excellence first, which I said before. We have interactive notebooks and virtual tutoring. What sparked our interest in like starting this business? Well, both of us being educators. I was a math teacher for 8 years or so. I can't keep up, but for a long time. And my sister, she was also a math teacher, and we just saw like the need for like extra support for our students, where in school sometimes they didn't have access to like tutoring or supplemental tangible supplies to help them like outside of school. So we decided to like go ahead and start that. So we started our interactive notebooks first, which is kindergarten through 8th grade. So based on the specifics that your child needs help with, we'll create books based on that, and like hand make them. It's initially in the beginning, it was very tough because we were getting a lot of books and it was like, oh, wow, we weren't expecting that. But as we like continue to like get to know the ins and outs, we were able to make it easier. And then we started the virtual tutoring because actually like a student reached out to me and her parents, and they asked if I can like tutor them on the weekends. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And it was like, well, we're going to pay you. And I was like, you don't have to pay me. And I was like, no, we're going to pay you. So I'm like, okay, well, might as well just add this on to that. It's a thing that I'm like really passionate about, especially with our Black and brown students. Like, I feel like they are not the strongest when it comes to like math, or well, they don't think they are the strongest when it comes to math. It's always a myth. Like I'm not good at math, or like those types of things that they would say. So I thought that was kind of the drive that made me want to like do virtual tutoring to let them know that like you can be good at math. You might have to work a little harder, but you know, you can be good at math. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And then with Jacob's Frenzy, that's our fashion line. We've always just dressed different, my mom would say. So before, like we were very inconsistent with our Jacob's Frenzy brand. So we started off like actually making clothes, and we had a sewing machine and we were making clothes. And then after I had my daughter, we kind of fell off. And then now we got back into it, but we're like choosing pieces versus like making them, and just, you know, sharing our style with the world. So that's what sparked our interest in both of those businesses.
Thank you. I haven't gotten to try LaDonna's products yet. I'm gonna have to order now that I know the website, but I've definitely got one of Jacob's jackets from Jacob's Frenzy, and the books she mentioned. I wish we could screen share Jacob's Excellence. They're like really elaborate and like very, very detailed. And you said they were K through 8 again for the Jacob's Excellence books. You said they're for K through 8.
K through 8.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you we have our email, Jacob's Excellence at Gmail, and then on Instagram is Jacob's Excellence, and then we have Jacob's Frenzy on Instagram. So
all right. At the end, we're going to put everybody's @ and Facebooks and websites as well, just to remind all the listeners. Okay. So Miss Williams or Jackie, who do you want to pick next for your lightning? What sparked everyone?
Brittany.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So my initial business is I actually I had a resale business called Retro Chic. And that came from I just love to thrift. My mother was a thrift, or she's still a thrifter, and so we grew up thrifting, and so I still thrift. And I found out about resale through COVID, and so I thought, oh, let's start this, let's try it. So right now, I'm trying to rebrand Retro Chic into something else. So in doing that, I started Tech and Chic, which is something I thought of because there were a lot of people asking me how I transitioned from education into technology, and so I wanted to just help other people see how they can do it, and not only just from that transition, but also they could transition from any career to another one, and how mental health is important, and you don't have to stay somewhere that is causing you to be depressed or sad or upset. Like, you can change that part of your life. And so that was my purpose in creating Tech and Chic. So I have a blog for that, and working on doing videos and more, just to pretty much encourage people to share my story and give them tips on how they can make that type of transition.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you said you transitioned from education. What is your actual job title now in tech, more specifically?
Right now, I'm a software engineer at Accenture Federal Services here in St. Louis.
All right, thank you. And I know you were also doing, I don't know if that's part of your business as well. I know you're doing influencing other people about transition and doing like the chic as well as the tech, but is that part of it, the mats that you've been making? I know you've been designing lots of different things. You've been posting, being creative lately.
Yeah, so still trying to figure that out, because I do want to do an Etsy shop, and because I just got a Cricut and I've always been a crafter, so I'm still trying to see what all I want to offer on my Etsy shop. Right now, I'm just trying different things and seeing what works and what people like. So I started with creating these mats, these door mats for people. So that is definitely still in the very early stages, but definitely by the end of the year, I'm hoping that I will have that Etsy store up and running, or probably.
Put them on there now.
I was going to say, I didn't mean to force you, but they didn't look like you just got a Cricut. So I thought they were up. They look really nice. So you should advertise them as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right. Let's go to Octavius. What was your spark for starting your business initially?
My spark was back in like 2003. What made me fall in love with the transportation business. So that was like, made me want to jump into it. Eventually, I knew I had to work. I was working some jobs that I really didn't care for, and like I was told one time before, I was in corporate for a while, and I just got tired of that. But I just had to jump out there and say, hey, when I get this opportunity and I can, really do what I'm really passionate about, then I'm going to do it. And that's what I did, and I'm having fun with it. And that's what made me, that's what gave me that spark was my family, and just knowing that I can take care of them and do something I really love and enjoy. So,
all right, thank you. All right, let's go to Jada Wilder, Jada Lynn. I know you have a whole identity online, different, cool.
Yes. So I'm gonna start off with Unravel Accessories. So that brand is basically where I sell fashion accessories. What sparked that was I've always liked fashion, and I've always kind of been an entrepreneur. When I was like 11, I had a candy arrangement business, and that came from like my dad and my family. They're all entrepreneurs. So I wanted to do something within the fashion realm, but I knew everybody was doing like clothing lines and stuff. So I was like, I kind of want to do something different. So my slogan for Unravel Accessories is Details Matter. So that's going to be a future line that I do. And I'm in the process of rebranding Unravel Accessories into like more unique pieces, because what I do now is I order from suppliers in China and I resell them. And so my second business, it is Style In. So my middle name and style connected. So I've always liked, like I said, fashion ever since I was in high school, and everybody would ask me like, hey, can you help me with this outfit? And, you know, you should become a stylist and stuff like that. So I kind of started to take it a little bit more serious. And on that page, I kind of just make collages, and I also offer just fashion advice. And if people need like me to find something, I'll do it, just because I am also an aspiring personal shopper / wardrobe stylist.
All right. And then thank you, Jada. Last but certainly not least is our lovely co-host, Abiola. What was your spark for starting your business?
For me, it was over the pandemic. We were home. Pretty much everybody was at home, and I don't know. Pretty much Brittany knows, and a couple of other people, that I'm a special education teacher. So I have like a lot of special education students that were stuck at home, and parents were asking questions. How can I help? So eventually, I just got a she shed, which my husband allowed me to get, and he built everything. He bought it, we bought it, and he did all the work, and the she shed was built, and the students came with it. So that became the whole premise of me having a business, because I figured if they were going to come to me during the pandemic, and I made sure everybody was safe, they were spread out, and we kept our group as a cohesive group. So there was not a lot of people outside of our group. So I had like 5 kids, including one of mine that was here with me, and that was all of us, and nobody ever had COVID. None of us was sick or anything like that. So I just registered my business, which is Wisrock Learning Center. So I tutor kids sometimes. Actually, I got a kid that's coming to me tomorrow. He had stopped coming and he fell off. So he's starting to come back tomorrow for math tutoring. And then I started my jewelry company because I'm into the whole Rastafarian lifestyle. So I wear a lot of head wraps, a lot of the ice gold and green colors, the Rastafarian colors. So when I go home to my country, which is Guyana, I started buying a lot of the beads, and come back. When I came back, I just started making my own jewelry from scratch, and that's what I do. So I make like necklaces, the belly bands, the earrings, all of that. So that's what I've been selling on the side to other people as well, in conjunction with my tutoring company.
And in conjunction with your full-time job and being a mom of 3. Let me go ahead and put all this out. Some of y'all are working multiple things, moms, dads, so I really admire the entrepreneurial spirit on top of your regular jobs and lifestyles, because everybody can do it or won't do it. Okay, so the next question is, do you think it is more stressful owning and running your own business, or being on the clock, salary, and answering to a boss organization? And so I am going to give this question to Octavius, and then we're going to come to LaDonna, because I know, Octavius, you actually just, not to put you out, but I know you just like went full time. So, all right.
Well, that's a good question, because owning, stressful. I mean, yeah, it's definitely stressful owning your own business, especially being in the transportation business, where you actually have vehicles that you have to maintain, you have to keep clean all the time, you have to make sure you provide, especially with, my company, first class service, so I want to make sure that everything is perfect. So when I pick up my clients, that they are getting nothing but the best service. And also on the business side, making sure that you have all your accreditations, for your business, so that when people research you, Google you and all those types of things, that you're 100% legit, and reviews and all those different things. So it's like, you know, I'm learning so much by being a business owner, and also being able to market your business as well. Yes, we have a lot of different ways of doing it now through social media. I'm so old school, back when, you could put it in the newspaper, you can do all these different things. Oh, it's totally different now, which is great, and just being creative too, with making sure that your business stick out, but on, when I was working, I enjoyed, because I was still I was driving. I was in the truck business driving. And I just felt like I just felt like I needed something to leave to my family, and I do by all means respect anyone. I mean, I'm a business owner. I have, people that work for me as well, but I always want to have something that I can pass down to them. And I always felt like, that I could not pass this down to them. Once I work however many years and retire or whatever, guess what? What do I really have to really pass down to them, that they can be able to pass down to their kids. And so, that was one of my things that kind of made me cut, the, working for a company or whatever, and start jumping out there and starting my own. So I will say, it is hard, it is stressful, but it's all well worth it. It's fun, so I would say technically, being an entrepreneur is stressful then, but I would take that any day over going into a job, clocking in and getting into it with a manager is like, and I got to see them 10 or 12 hours, so yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And I love your entrepreneurial spirit and you shouting out people, right, that are not necessarily able to take it 100 right now, but you definitely are. And you also have a lot of followers and supporters, both in regular life and right now on the YouTube channel. So lots of people are shouting you out.
Yeah, I see that.
All right. So we are going to go to the same question, but now again, we're going to go to LaDonna. So do you think it is more stressful owning and running your own business, or being on the clock salary and answering to a boss organization, which you actually do both? So you can speak.
Yes. So I do both. I am working in exit strategy right now. So by quarter something of this year, I won't say that because I probably have coworkers here, but by quarter something of this year, 2022, I will be completely exited from a job in which I am going to. And so I will completely say, without a doubt, I would agree with you, Octavius, definitely operating your own business would be the most difficult thing as far as right now identifying benefits. So I'm young, I'm 28, and trying to make sure that I have benefits, 401k, insurance, all the necessary things that we don't think about when we have a job that it comes with it. It's part of the salary package, and creating a benefits package where I could get some short-term disability if I need to go to the hospital, or other types of benefits, as well as all the different licenses and credentials for each respective business that I have, and making sure that things are in place and licenses are paid for, as opposed to when you show up to work, you just come in and everything's set there. This amount of things that you need to do, and everything's in place. But knowing how to budget and how to keep things in place for your business. What's your plan for a different quarter when funds may look low? What are you going to do when it's a low season in order to have the finances to operate? It's not like you could just go and the business will keep paying you. And so what are your financial things? What things do you have in place? What assets do you have that you can maybe barter with or put in place to even acquire loans or financial gain? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's going to tie to something we're going to speak about later. And definitely, our last podcast was all about financial literacy. So it sounds like you are definitely an expert in that as well, or definitely getting that way yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you both for that answer response. Abiola, I'm going to let you take it away with 3.
Yeah. What did you acquire, or are you acquiring money? Are you wanting me to answer it, or you wanting me
Well, you can answer it if you would like as the co-host, and then you can pick someone else too to answer. So this is the question you developed. So I just wanted to
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I've noticed with owning your own business, I've been fortunate enough to have a husband that works. I've never had to have insurance for myself or our children, because he's always covered us. So I can always do my, like the young lady said before me, it's kind of tricky when you got to think of insurance and all that kind of stuff. So I've never had to deal with that kind of situation. It's always been the biggest thing for me stepping away, because I really would like to own like a center that I find that the grant process or the financial part of it has always been kind of tricky, that you get these little things that pop up. Oh, you can apply for a grant, you can do all this stuff, and then when you get to the end of it, it's like, oh, you need to pay $100 and something, you need to do this. And I've always wondered, like, my biggest question for anybody that's out there listening, or the panel, like, where is your step other than the bank that you can get financial assistance to start the process? Because pretty much everything has been funded by myself and my husband thus far. So we've done pretty good, but you don't want to tap into too much of what you got.
Mm-hmm. So again, this was Abiola's question, asking how you each basically have acquired in the past, or how you are considering acquiring, or how you're currently acquiring money to begin your entrepreneurial pursuit. So I'm just going to put a 1-minute timer up, because I feel like we have a lot of knowledge from the group here, and just kind of ask everyone a little 1-minute lightning round of how you've either pursued getting finances before for your business, or how you might be seeking advice, things like that. So we're going to go to Jada. What ways are you right now trying to acquire money for your business, or how have you done so in the past and had success?
Well, I can be honest. I am a student, so I do get like refund checks and just like checks that they give us for relief. And me working part-time jobs over the summer, I kind of just use my own money for that instead of spending it on, I do spend it on clothes, I'll be honest. But, I take a good portion of that and I spend it on that just because I prioritize my business a lot. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being very efficient. She is very humble. She is a college student right now. Actually, you are with an alum, Miss Jacobs, Jasmine. She also was a TSU alum. So, yes, Jada is in college right now. And yes, I love that you're saying that you could, right, waste money, spend it on lots of other things, but you're investing in your business, investing in yourself. So I love that.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to do 1 minute on the clock again, and let's go to Octavius. How did you initially start getting financing, acquiring money for your business?
I was saving up when I was in a trucking business. And there was one point of time when I was over the road, I had packed my stuff and put it in a storage and just took off and just, saved up, until I got myself in a better place that I can invest and, make sure, I got my, pay some things off to get my credit in a good place to be able to make some purchases, and let the banks see that I can be able to handle the type of investments that I wanted to take to pursue. And also, I do have some investors that are interested, and we've been talking here and there, so will be able to take me to that next level. So, but I will say, going back to trucking, that was the main source that allowed me to get funding, even for my business. And my lovely wife, she definitely helped out a lot too. I love her.
She is amazing. I know.
Yes, she is.
Angel. She is a research librarian, always
Oh,
doing
wow.
amazing things.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she definitely helps me with so much, and she keeps me on my toes and to make sure that I have everything that I need. And yeah, I will say, shout out to my wife. She's definitely a big supporter, and my whole family that is up here that I'm seeing as well. I didn't know it was going to be like this tonight.
Some of them are like, can he see my comments? They're like,
I know.
Yeah. They're definitely here supporting. All right. So we are going to go to Jasmine. Jasmine, what ways have you, and I know you say you co-jointly own a business. How did y'all try to acquire finances, or how do you still acquire money to do your entrepreneurial pursuits?
Yes. So to be honest, in the beginning, we just saved our money. We just pulled from our savings to to start our business. And then as we started selling like notebooks and we did virtual tutoring, we ended up like getting a PayPal account and just like putting the money in the PayPal account. So then once we wanted to like start something else up, we were able to pull from there, and then we'll just put it back into the account. So it kind of like accumulated over time. But recently, because we're trying to we're trying to get a self-care journal published. So we're trying to get some type of sponsor to help with that at the moment. So, but yeah.
Well, I hear that there's lots of savings, lots of investing in yourself, reinvesting. So let's go to LaDonna. What have you done to acquire finances, or what are you still doing to acquire finances? And I know you're trying to go full time, so we definitely want to hear what all you've been doing with this.
Yes. So I have a couple other businesses. One of my businesses is a social impact consulting business. So I develop for-profit and non-for-profit social enterprises together, which fundraising is a number one priority. So I do grant writing, funding. So from that experience in that business, I'm able to develop other businesses. So I use part of those funds, my pay instead of my consultant fee, I would use that to invest in our newest business, so Sunshine Pals, because my co-owner, she's a college student. She was a high school student when we started the business. So the amount of money that she was making cleaning relatives' homes or coming over to my place to clean up definitely wasn't enough to invest. But some ways that we were able to acquire some funding other than applying for the different small business grants and tapping into the minority different funds throughout Chicago, the county, the state. So definitely I'm going to recommend all the people, color, which is all of us who are the business owners, to register your business as a minority-based business, woman-owned business. That taps you into identifying additional funds and funding. We also have acquired a loan at the beginning from Shopify, which is our website host. And so once they saw the income that we were able to get a $1,500 loan, and the interest rate was about 3%. So to pay that back, and it just paid back from our sales. And then able to even get a loan from PayPal before going to a bank or something for funds. And they were able to just take that out of the transactions that we were receiving. So that was definitely something to assist in the first year to break profit after paying for all the insurances and everything that we needed.
All right. Thank you. I see lots of people agreeing and or taking notes maybe on the slide because those were some great tips. Thank you, LaDonna. All right. So we are going to go to the next portion. And the last piece is basically just advice. So first and foremost, I know all of you had to start somewhere. And so I want everyone that is watching, everyone that is here to think about times that you have not been as successful, or times that maybe you felt like, oh, this is either a waste of money or this is not what I expected it to be. Because we all know some people, you know, they don't have the fortitude sometimes to stick things out where they're large passions. But a really good quote about that losses, failures, is it's fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to heed the lessons of failure, by Bill Gates. So obviously, a person that knew all about trying and trying and trying, oftentimes failing, right? But trying again, right? And picking yourself back up after the losses, that's like the biggest lesson. So we're going to go, as we end out the show, on this last question for everyone. What advice would you individually give people who are either experiencing self-consciousness or that imposter syndrome, or they might be worrying about these financial risks if you're trying to make your side hustle your predominant career and income? So again, we are going to go. So what do you think, actually, Jackie? I know neither one of us are entrepreneurs, but you're always a fountain of wisdom, and I haven't heard enough from you tonight, and you always bring joy to us. So I want to hear from you anyway.
Okay. My the side hustle I did with making the mask, that was just I'm always so experimenting with different things. So when I started making the mask, I would, make it double-sided with different colors, or edge my mask off in a color that would stick out. So making masks is not my I want to do predominantly. I have something going now, and it's for women. And I know I'm gonna have to get me a more durable sewing machine, which I am working on that now. And once I do that, I think that's gonna become my business, along with tutoring math, because I'm doing that too on the side. Math tutor. So those are the two things that I enjoy doing. So I'm gonna make them my permanent jobs and hire on other people, to help them get started. And financially, I what I'm doing, when I was doing the mask, I had material here, and I went bought like material that how to store, cut them in blocks. I bought that and used that, and I tried different patterns. I made patterns on my own, and it went pretty well. But I don't want to do that. It's real tedious, but it's a money maker. And I did everything myself. I had my out in the kitchen with the patterns out, cut out, and I know that the tedious thing that I had to do with the patterns was putting on an elastic band. So what I did with that, I would just take a stitch both sides down. So when I started sewing, I didn't have to worry about that, and it came out great. So I made like over 3,000 masks. I sold half, and I just gave the others away. You
have that giving spirit.
Yeah.
But you also have wisdom. That's why I was like, we got to get some jewels from you. On the second part of the question, I know this is, again, you're not 100% running your entrepreneurial business pursuits right now, but you're saying that you want that to be your goal. You are sitting on some gold mine of advice in terms of investments and what you did with your other jobs while you were going to school, and you're actually still going to school. So what are some other tips you could give people who might be worried about taking a leap of faith or taking a financial risk by leaving their current full-time position to try to do something entrepreneurial?
Well, one good advice I have is like my 401k with General Motors. When I found out that I can borrow that money and pay myself back interest, I never went to a bank. And I just didn't go to get it out for just, foolishness. It was always something major that I was doing. So if you're young enough and you have a 401k and you can pay yourself back with interest, that's the way to go, because you don't have to worry about signing no paper. It comes out of your check. That's another big thing I did. And also when I purchased my second home, I had it built, and that's how I had my down payment. I went that route, and I spread it over 10 years, just in case if there was a layoff or things wasn't like they had a layoff with China with the chips and things like that. I always had it low enough where if I was out of work, collect unemployment, I can do that. And also, like I said, I had started doing like repairs on people's clothes and stuff like that. So I'm always gonna make $1 somewhere somehow.
See, you said one tip. You have a fountain of knowledge always. 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Let's do the same question this time for Jada. So, what advice would you give to other people like yourself who might originally have experienced self-consciousness, or they might be worried about a financial risk with making their side hustle their predominant career income?
I know that everybody does not have this blessing to have an entrepreneur as a parent or people around them. But one thing that I would say that helped me a lot besides that is finding your why as to why you want to start your business. I know it's easy to be like, oh, I'm going to do this to make some extra money. And that is part of it. But like at the same time, that's not going to keep you with that. Like you're gonna have seasons. Like I just had a season where I wasn't making any sales, but when I got on here, I just got a sale. Like I haven't made a sale in about a month, so I kept going. I'm on this podcast sharing my experiences, and I just did it. So for me to like make a sale, it's very, and I have a spiritual side as well. I know that everybody's not spiritual, but I just have my why, and my why is just the smiles that I put on people's faces whenever they see one of my products or one of my items at like pop-up shops, or they say, oh, this is so cute, or people like me that like the things that I sell. So that is my why. Details matter. I believe that accessories matter. I think that, your outfit can be cute, but it can also be cuter with an accessory or two. So that's my why. I just say find like your passion in whatever you're trying to do, and that'll keep you going.
Mm-hmm. So we have lots of different things, right? We have tips about having multiple avenues of income. We have tips about finding your why, about how, everyone doesn't have the familial background with entrepreneurship, but definitely admiring that, taking advice from them, worrying about the details, both of your business and your specific brand. Okay, what about you, LaDonna? What would you say? What advice would you give to people that might be experiencing self-consciousness about stepping out with their business or financial risk with making it their full-time career?
Yeah. I totally agree with you, Jay. Definitely understanding your why. Knowing your why is the number one thing. My mom called us a few days ago to let us know of a package that one of her friends ordered for her aunt, and she was crying, and the products made her day. Wanting to know, that's just something that's special to us, putting a special touch onto things, and that's what we pride ourselves from. But aside from knowing your why, definitely being consistent, persevering. Just like Jada was saying, you didn't have any sales for the last month, but you still continue to post, still continue to strive and achieve, and not to have the imposter syndrome and looking and say, oh, I had 3 likes on my social media account this month or what have you, but to continue to post because people see it. Okay. And to just know, just to keep pushing and beyond just kind of giving up on something just because it may not have worked out, and identifying and knowing how to pivot when things aren't necessarily working the way you want them to work, to do something else different, try out something new, save something and take the risk. Sometimes you may not have all the funds or the money that you want to have. Do something to help yourself get that. Set yourself a financial goal and launch it. Have 1 or 2 of the items. Definitely go for it.
I see some other people in the comments in the chat, and thank you for those of you who are tuning in as guests as well. This one is really good. Wanted to share. Says, as an entrepreneur, this is from Mac PTM. I might have butchered that, but you will approach many speed bumps. However, the speed bumps do not mean to stop, right? It is there to slow you down, but proceed forward always, just with caution, maybe, because now you've learned some lessons. So don't let the bump stop you. I love that. Other people said,
that's my dad.
Yeah.
My dad actually, that's what he just wrote that. And I was going to use that when you got to me. Don't let the bump stop you. And as you can tell, Now, this right here explains where I get it from.
All right. I
You
love
know,
that.
so
Well, you can
shout out to
definitely
my dad.
piggyback or add on to that if you would like. Go ahead, Octavius. Thank you.
Are you? Yeah. So, honest, as you can tell, my family, they're all in business. My parents, my mom, dad, uncles. I got friends that I'm really close with. That we grew up together. He has a clothing business. Also, Jada. You can pull him up on Instagram. It's called Cope, Kope. He is a line down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and doing very well there. He inspired me a lot as well. But just to piggyback off my dad, definitely don't let that bump stop you at all, because we all going to worry. We all going to, do our research. We all going to just, we're going to think about the funds. We're going to think about, our kids, our family, and making sure that we can provide for them. Because, we can do all the math and just think of us, but we also got to make sure those things are taken care as well. And once you hire, other, you bring on employees to make sure that they can take care of their families as well. So it's a lot to be able to worry, about. But like you say, consistency it's important. Like I felt like if I always had that feeling, if I could give a company a job 100%, every job that I have done, I gave it 100%, and I did really well at it. And I just knew that I had a talent. I knew that I had something. And so I just always did my research till one day my wife was like, "Hey, I'm done with you doing research. It's time to go. It's time to make that jump, to make that leap, And my dad, again, he taught me something that stuck with me my whole entire life. And I know that he's listening. He taught me, he's probably laughing now. He taught me 5 P's. And that was perfect practice prevents poor performance. And that always stuck in my head, because I felt like, if I can perform this, and I can perfect it, then, I don't have no other choice but, to do really well at it, And so, when I got into the transportation business, I made sure everything looked good. My suit was good. Everything was good. I mean, I would look in the mirror and I would practice how I would say certain things, how I would talk, how I would communicate, and I did really well at it, and I'm just applying all of that knowledge, all of that practicing, all of those skills into my own business. And so that worrying that I had before, start to minimize to like, okay, I got this, So that's why if I have to encourage anyone out there that it's kind of like, worrying, just kind of, I would say definitely do your research, and definitely, practice, anything that you need, research, or be able to find someone that can be a mentor as well, that you can follow or help, because I have a lot of mentors that help me, that I call consistently all the time, for advice, for some financial tips or anything, and he helped me out a lot, and still to this day, they, I talk to them, and, they say, "Hey, look, man, I would do it this way," or, so yeah, it's, you always going to have that worry, but, I promise you, once you make that decision to say, "Hey, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to look back," I promise you, you just take off, so that's the advice I can give.
Thank you. I love, again, all the family love, tons of comments. We have another person who shouted us out, Jill's Chocolate Boutique, just stopping by to show some support to the channel. Thank y'all for stopping in. We have King DeLoe. I think that was your cousin as well. He said he was about to start his own LLC painting business, but on his birthday. So definitely encouraging these entrepreneurs that, and a lot of y'all come, it sounds like, from entrepreneurial families as well. So continue encouraging each other. Also, your wife. Thank you for her getting you on the program tonight. Love you too, Angel. And she is also a TSU alum. So now we're going to ask the same question again, but this time of Jasmine. What advice would you give to people who are either experiencing self-consciousness or that financial risk worry?
The advice that I have is that it's a process. We live in this like microwave society where everything comes quick, and just like not being, I guess, straight away from your goals because it's not happening quick enough. Just making sure that you have the motivation. Like, things are not going to be perfect. Sometimes, it's not going to go well, but that's when you learn those lessons and you pick yourself up and you go at it again from another angle, from a different way, from the experiences that you had before, and know that, you started at the bottom and now we're here. You keep going up, you keep getting better and better, and you keep making things better, and eventually you'll get to where you need to be. So just, stepping out on faith. Like, sometimes we have a bunch of ideas in our head, and then there's this one idea that keeps like coming back in your head. That means it might be meant for you to step out on faith and do that. Now, when you step out on faith, it might not be like how you expect it to be. However, if this is something that's meant for you to be, then you keep driving, you keep pushing, and you'll eventually get to where you need to be when it comes to your business.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go to Brittany. What advice would you give to people who are just now starting out, who might be self-conscious or might have these financial worries as well?
I have to say, this is something that was told to me when I was starting my resale business, was just to start with what you have. So, like, you may not have money to go out and find things in stores so you can resell. So look in your house. What can you sell in your house? So they would just encourage you, start with what you have so that you're not out of a lot of money. And maybe it's even, time. Maybe that's something that you're struggling with. Oh, I don't have enough time to do this job or to start this business. Well, if you have an hour here or an hour there, what can you do to, what time can you give or what can you do during that hour that will help start your business? So whatever that may be, that thing that may be holding you back, just start with what you have with that thing. And eventually it'll get easier for you. You'll get more support. It'll just take off for you. That's one thing I'm learning. And also I'm a perfectionist. So I have to tell myself this all the time. Use what you have. Like, you don't have, at this time, you may not have this big studio, or you may not have this fancy camera, or, all of this stuff, or this team, but you have this, and this. Start with this, and then eventually it'll get there. And one more thing is support. I think supporting other small businesses. I think supporting I'm always, and before I even thought about being an entrepreneur, I always found ways that I could support people. Even if I couldn't buy anything from you, if I knew someone that was looking for something that you sold, then I'm going to point them to you, or, just anything like that. So I think that's something, as small business owners, we have to support each other because we understand the struggle. We really understand what the other person is going through. So that's some other advice. Like, if you're thinking about starting a business, support other small businesses. Reach out to them, see how you can help them, and you never know, by doing that, the connection that you make, how that person can pour into your life and help you take off with what you want to do.
Thank you. Last but certainly not least, again, we're going to go to Abby. What advice would you give people who are either experiencing self-consciousness or this financial risk fear?
Everything in life is going to have a financial risk, because especially when it's your money, personal money involved, you're taking it out of your own pocket. And even when you borrow it, because at the end of the day, you still got to pay it back. But for me, my dad family and my dad before he passed away has always been, do for self, and that's been one of the things because my father family own like they do own a real estate in Brooklyn, New York. So for me, it's embedded in me for me to actually own a business regardless, because at the end of the day, it's for me to pass down something, like Octavia said earlier, pass down something to my kids. I do not want my children to be literally not have anything and starting from scratch. It's not an option for me, period. Like my children, especially, and I have sons and 3 black sons, that is like embedded in myself. And even my children at this tender age, I involve them in everything. They're on my business accounts. They have access to my credit cards because we don't have like any kind of debt. So they literally are starting out with like an 800 credit score, so they can actually go out and get anything. They have a limit on a credit card. So having that baseline for me is important, because having a business makes you responsible, whereas you go to work, you take care of what you got to take care of work. But when I come home, sometimes I don't go to bed until 1 o'clock, because I leave out of the house, I go in the shed and I have stuff I have to do, but I make sure my home life is taken care of. That's why I separated it. So when I'm in the house, I'm in the house. When I'm outside, I'm outside. So, make sure my household is taken care of, husband, kids, everybody. But that time is time I'm investing into the business, because at the end of the day, that's money I spent and my husband spent towards that business, and we need to make it back. And like that young lady said earlier, even if you don't make a sale, at least you can drop your stuff online. There's millions of people in this world. It's gonna reach somebody. Somebody is gonna see that, and it's like people, reach out to me for tutoring. Sometimes I have to be like, I can't do it this week because I'm trying to do something. I'm thinking of the money, but then I'm thinking, listen, I need to do something with my children. I'm always conflicted about that, because I'm like, I need to spend this time right now with my kids. But if I miss out on spending time with my children, they might look back and be like, my mother wasn't there, or something like that. But you gotta have that balance and making sure that something's gonna take priority at sometimes, and then another thing might take priority. But money wise, you gotta make sure you have a cushion somewhere. And I don't know if this is with other people, but I don't know if it came from my mom, but she always like, you have to have something put aside in case something happens. So if I don't make a sale, my husband is still there. I still got something to fall back on. So it kind of works out for me, where it might not be for some people. But entrepreneurship, I love it. It's for me. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can do it.
I love the advice that she was given about have something to fall back on, not just financial wise, but also having multiple skills to fall back on. Like Miss Winston earlier, Brittany, she mentioned, right, switching careers. Now she has multiple skills and she's starting her own business. Both of the Miss Williams, Abiola and Jacquelyn, have multiple different backgrounds, degrees, right? Skills, both like creative, but also academic. So I think those are both pertinent, right? It's not just about the finances, but about just having skills transferable. And even if, like what Octavius mentioned earlier, if you're not liking your career that you're currently in, right, then that means that you've set yourself up with a backup plan to exit, like LaDonna said as well, kind of tying it all back together to wrap us up. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming on tonight to our third installment of the Social Hour. Thank you again to Octavius, to Brittany, to Jada, to Jasmine, to LaDonna. Please, please, please go back, share the podcast with family and friends. Put your Facebook, Instagram, websites in the bottom of the chats. We would love for all of our listeners, viewers, from Knowledge and Relationships in the Social Hour to get to experience your businesses, learn more about your platforms. So thank you all so much again for tuning in. I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much from Knowledge and Relationships, Abby and Jacquelyn.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye. How do you exit?